Previously on Dissecting the 80s. Hey, I think the time circuits have been permanently altered. It seems like I can type 1999 in here, and it's not just like automatically clearing and trying to make me put in 198 something.
Okay. I mean, to be fair, for a while we've been able to do 1993 or 1982. So
That's true. But it seems like now the time circuits have been calibrated such that as long as the movie is 25 years old, we can do it. I'm not sure how this lightning seems to have happened and done this, I think.
hey, I mean, I say we just go with it, right? That opens up a lot of fun things.
I guess if you do the math, 1989 to 2014 when we started the podcast, that's only 25 years, right? Am I doing my math right there?
I mean, you're asking a gay to do math. You're asking an emotional gay to do math. I feel like...
Oh, well, hold on. Let's walk through it like a common core math problem. 1989 plus 10, that's 1999.
Uh-huh.
And then another 10 is 2009. And then 5 is 2014. Yeah. So 25 years old. Okay. Well, it seems like we've got new rules on this podcast, I guess. This podcast is brought to you by our supporters at Patreon. Did you know that if you signed up right now at our $5 tier at patreon.com/dissectingthe80s, you would get 24 bonus episodes, nearly 34 hours of additional content of this show. And I'm talking some pretty heavy hitters. Movies like Die Hard, Dirty Dancing, Flashdance, Lost Boys, She's All That, Adventures in Babysitting, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, Back to the Future, The Thing, Ghostbusters, Footloose, Lethal Weapon, Tremors, My Blue Heaven, Halloween, and so much more. Visit patreon.com/dissectingthe80s to find out how you can get more of this podcast that you're listening to.
I forgot Tremors was a Patreon.
Among many other wonderful films. Welcome to Dissecting the 80s. I am Trip Lano, one half of the Mega Podcasting Powers, and thanks to a time anomaly, we are doing a very exciting movie that takes place... came out rather. I mean, I guess it takes place when it came out.
Contemporary.
Where it takes place is but it takes place is irrelevant to the purpose of the podcast. Release date, a little later than usual. I'm very excited to talk about it. And with me, as always, is my tag team partner. Where's my brother? The Macho Man Drew.
Andrew Lano. I like that.
I thought of that while I was taking a walk today, and I was like, hell yeah, that's a good one. We are talking about the 96, 97, I should have written that down, 97 movie, Kurt Russell Spectacular Breakdown, so you know what that means.
We gotta go back. We gotta go dissect the 80s. It's your slept-on thriller. Someone's got your slept-on thriller.
When the mega powers explode.
I'm talking about the 80s. Oh, yeah.
Great Scott!
Cream of the crop. Oh, yeah.
Mega powers, yeah!
When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
Absolute perfect way to describe this movie. Slept
It's
on.
weird it's not talked about like at all.
How was this not on TNT every weekend for the entirety of ages 12 to 15 for me? I do not understand. It cannot have cost that much to license. There's like nobody big in it. I'm convinced and I could not find an answer. Well, I mean, Kurt, yes. But Kurt is like the guy in which this movie is based around. Like you'd have the guy be like, Kurt Russell stars in Breakdown this Saturday on TNT. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Or maybe even a USA Network.
Oh, yeah. A movie for guys who like movies. Kurt Russell in Breakdown. You know, like why is this not in all of
what was the shitty misogynistic men's channel?
Spike TV.
100%. This is a Spike TV movie.
Yes, of course. The wife is a character.
Cinnamon.
The wife is like barely in this movie
and has no survival instincts. I don't mean to victim blame, but like
she's. Yes.
This movie was written by a man because 0% chance that any woman in her right brain makes any of the decisions except for the last one.
Right.
That Amy makes.
Right. She does make she makes two good decisions. The donut thing is inspired.
It is.
We'll get to that. That is clever. She's pretty smart. And the thing at the end does rule, but she doesn't get a lick of things to do. She's basically not into it. But like, think of all like like the one, like the late night movies on TNT that Joe Bob Briggs would host. This is like borderline exploitation film.
Yeah.
Sort of like grindhousey, could have fit in right there. Hell, man, dinner and a movie. Give me some like Southwest Mexican food.
Oh, that was a show, wasn't
Mexican
it?
food. Yeah, yeah. It was like a goofy guy and a really chipper lady, and they would like do food related to the movie, but not really. Like they didn't do like an in-depth recipe. And I feel like
you could go online or AOL keyword dinner in a movie.
Yeah, I feel like they flashed a recipe on the screen for like a second, and it was like, whoop, whoop, okay, all right, back to the movie, you know? But they were like eating chips or whatever. But like, I mean, make me like a nice New Mexican green chili nacho thing going, you know? Green chilies were available in cans.
Yeah, or just do truck stop food.
Yeah, oh yeah, give me like a chicken fried steak and a couple over easy eggs.
Oh, I was thinking like a vending machine, like powdered donuts.
Oh, sure. Yeah, yeah. Well, they go to that like greasy diner, which like
they
you know, I wouldn't want to eat at this particular one, but I like diners like that.
Yeah, I would not feel safe in this particular diner, but I love these style of diners.
Yeah. So I discovered this like flipping through Kurt's IMDb, I think, and was like, "What's this?" And it had a fairly high IMDb rating, like higher than I would expect.
It's like 80 something on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, I mean, Ebert gave this movie, I think, 3 out of 4 or 3.5 out of 4. I had
when
it
was
down,
actual Ebert.
I can't find it in my notes. Well, yeah, like Ebert himself reviewed the movie and was like, "This is a great little thriller," and it's like exactly the right thing. Like, this is just such a perfect popcorn movie. But so I watched it and I was like, "Well, that rules."
Was this
and then a couple
during
months
Panini?
went by. Yeah. This is like mid lockdown, or no, 2022. So post lockdown.
Okay.
So I watched it myself. Like a couple months go by. And I was like talking about this movie to somebody, and my wife was like, "Did we watch that?" And I was like, "No, I watched it by myself, but you would like it. We should just watch it." So then I watched it again with her, and now I've watched it for the podcast. So I have, yes, yeah. She was exactly this. It was like exactly the same things we just said. Of like, that movie's great. The woman character is a joke, but the movie is fun.
She's nothing, but still.
This is. I've watched this movie 3 times in 2 years.
I feel like there's movies that I've done that too, but
podcast.
Normally they're like comfort movies. It's not just like a random Kurt Russell.
Yeah. Well, see, that's the thing of it is like, I'm probably going to put this on the shelf for a while. You know, I may not, it'll be a long time if I go back to Breakdown. Yeah. But this has like become the comfort genre for me in the last few years. And that like, I love practical action movies. They like don't require a lot of brain space. They're usually pretty fun.
So you're talking about a like 90s to early 2000s thriller, action thriller.
I know. I don't want to get too heavy on this, but it is truly like September 10th, 2001 is the day that this all changes.
I mean, yeah, it's like, everything changed.
But it's like the type of movie that I like came out before September 10th, 2001 in this genre. Like I like a lot of different movies, obviously stuff that's come out since I enjoy very much. But this particular genre for me is like, action stuff. And some of it is pretty, like, I'll get into the weeds with the schlocky stuff. Like, Seagal is a bridge too far for me, but I'll do a Van Damme, you know?
I always confuse them. I mean, obviously, I know they're two different people, but, like, their genre of movies to me, I'm always like, which one was the hockey movie? Or was it both of them? They both did one?
Van Damme, well, so there's actually a Kurt Russell Seagal movie that's really great because Seagal gets killed in the first 20 minutes and it's a total shock because it's
he's
like
the Drew Barrymore in Scream.
Him. Yeah. And it's like you're expecting this to be a two-hander and then Seagal does like the heroic sacrifice and it's just a Kurt Russell movie from then on. And so that movie is called Executive Decision. It's sort of like a presidential related thriller.
Gotcha.
It's too long. That one's like 220, which is like way
get out of here.
Yeah. No way. Anything under 105 minutes with like a bunch of character actors, practical sets or practical car stunts, some gunplay, and filmed outside at some point. I'm like, I'll watch that.
Sure.
Are they always good? No, but pretty good return on investment there.
I think Elvira covers a lot of those boxes. Actually, now that I think about it. Character actors filmed outside, short.
Yeah, not an action movie.
There's some action sequences. They're funny, but there's some action sequences.
I think it would be a pretty big stretch to put Elvira in the action section, but Hey, you do you. You live your life the quarter mile at a time that you like. This is also produced by one of our faves, Dino De Laurentiis.
Giada's father? Grandfather? Father.
Grandfather.
Gotcha.
And there's a I wrote down producer Nepo Baby is best Nepo Baby, so I think there's another De Laurentiis in the credits that is well,
it's like with Mustafa Akkad and his kid
mom.
For the Halloween series.
Right.
Like that feels way less gross to me for some reason, and I don't know why.
Well, it's because that level of producer, like some of them were very hands-on, cough cough Harvey Weinstein, but like most of them are just the money people, you know? It's like they're the person that the creatives go to, and they're like, I have this cool idea, and they're like, cool,
Mustafa
I like that.
Akkad was got more hands-on as it went on.
Absolutely, he
and
did.
So did Bob Shea over at New Line. He was pretty hands-on.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, at a certain point, those franchises became so valuable that they were afraid of fumbling it, but... With this kind of movie where it's not necessarily a franchise thing, it's, you know, somebody went to Dino De Laurentiis and was like, here's this movie I want to make. And he was like, yeah, here's some money, go make it, you know?
And then the camera pans over and Giada's playing with dry spaghetti.
Yeah, exactly. She's just chomping on raw noodles.
Mm-hmm.
When I was, pitching it to our brother the first time I watched it, because I went to check my text to see the first time I watched it, because I was like, have you ever seen this movie? And he was like, I don't think so. And I started explaining it to him, and he was like, no, I don't think I've seen that. I was like, you gotta seek this movie out. It's really great. And I called it the Avengers of That Guy movie.
Okay. Yeah, so it's so funny because both Kathleen Quinlan, who plays Amy, Kurt's wife, and J.T. Walsh, the guy who plays the villain, I'm like, I know these people. And then I went through their whole scrolled through multiple times of their credits, and I was like, there's just nothing that jumps out.
Well, I think these are like the tier of character actor where you're like, I've seen that movie, so I guess that's where I know them from, as opposed to like, oh right, they did that in that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's because there was one that I want to say like. This is not it, but like Kathleen Quinlan was like a character in Spice World. And I was like, oh, that's probably what I remember her from, but it's not like Spice World's not like a big movie for me. So it's not like, you know, a weird, like a Hocus Pocus. I'm like, I've seen her 6,000 times and I didn't remember.
Yeah. On that list of people, also you have MC Gainey, who I know mostly as the pilot in Con Air, but has been in a bunch of stuff. He's got that.
He has a mustache in this movie.
He has sort of a Sweetums energy to compare him to a Muppet.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like he's big and loud and sort of like has that sort of like space fill factor. He like fills a doorway sort of. Yeah. And then you also got Rex Linn as a cop who I just learned today in looking up. I know him from Cliffhanger most of all, which I had watched very recently to this. No, Cliffhanger is like kind of fun, but too long.
It's Stallone, right?
It was.
We did the arm wrestling one.
Yes. Cliffhanger is almost certainly a future endeavor for this podcast now that we're expanding our reach a little bit. Again, like great practical action. They're outside and stuff. It's just a little bit long. But Rex Linn, who plays the cop in this, is one of the big bad guys in Cliffhanger. And also, I just recently learned, has been dating Reba McEntire since the pandemic started. Yeah. Apparently they're like, you know, all in on each other.
The cop in this movie, right?
Yeah. He kind of looks like Dr. Phil.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The Dr. Phil ass guy.
Good for Reba.
Yeah. They apparently have been friends since like 91 when they both worked on a sequel to a Kenny Rogers gambler movie. It's like, I'm not joking, the title is something like The Gambler Returns.
And it's not the first in the movie, like Max Dugan Returns?
No. There was The Gambler, the song, you know when to hold 'em.
Oh, okay.
When to fold 'em. Yeah, and then that got turned into a series of films for Mr. Kenny Rogers.
Sure thing.
You know, good work if you can get it. But yeah, Rex Linn has been in a bunch like Django Unchained, Long Kiss Goodnight. I've seen him in a billion.
He was a voice in Tangled, and I was like, that's wild.
Oh, really?
He voiced because it was on his Wikipedia, the opening paragraph that lists like the things you would know him from. One of them was Tangled, and I was like, Really? That's the you would know him as the voice of the captain of the guard in Tangled? Okay, sure.
It's probably like most highest gross, perhaps, is what I'm guessing.
Oh,
is
maybe.
where that comes from. He also was in Rush Hour. I think he played the like yelling boss. You know.
I truly don't know the last time I saw Rush Hour. It might have been.
Oh no, I'm just saying, you know, as in like this guy clearly. Was
you know what? Maybe he was. One of them was in Loaded Weapon. I can't remember which of the you know who's. One of them was in Loaded Weapon,
Okay.
and I was like, that's probably what I know him from.
The full title is The Gambler Returns: the Luck of the Draw, and the photo here, the poster is Reba in like a saloon girl costume that you would take on a boardwalk.
Okay, yeah, she's in an old timey photo thing.
Yeah, and she's standing behind Kenny Rogers.
Is he in a barrel with
holding
suspenders?
Cards. No, he's wearing a tuxedo that also looks like the thing that you would have gotten. That is actually, no bullshit, The Gambler 4.
Oh, okay.
So you had The Gambler in 1980, The Gambler, The Adventure Continues in 83, The Gambler, Part 3,
Back in the Habit.
Legend Continues. You had The Adventure Continues and The Legend Continues, so they had to stick a Part 3 in there.
Good Lord.
That was 87. And then you had Luck of the Draw in 91, The Gambler Returns, and then finally Gambler 5, Playing for Keeps in 94.
Wow.
Anyway, apparently there's a whole film that is a number 4 we could do on the podcast. That's a whole film series. We're gonna have to have Gambler Month.
No, that doesn't sound. I can't imagine Reba's in more than one of those, and I can't imagine that I will find anything worthwhile in the rest of those.
I mean, come on, Reba is in part 4. There's got to be some people that, you know. The other good sign.
What year was that though? Was it like
91? Was Gambler 4?
Okay, yeah, I feel like Reba was in a lull. Probably was just doing stuff. The show hadn't come out yet.
The other good sign is the only the first film has a hyperlink on Wikipedia. The other 3, no hyperlinks.
Oh, wow. That's a bummer.
Anyway, I'll stop reading Wikipedia to our listeners, but I did need to know which.
I'm sure that's a podcast somewhere.
This must be Gambler 2. Nope, it's The Gambler 4. So we've got Kurt and his wife. We're driving cross country, and immediately I'm all in because it's the beautiful American mountain west or desert west. That just like, you know, lovely landscapes, red rocks. We're clearly in like Utah, New Mexico, somewhere in that region.
Yeah, it feels a little southwesty to me.
Yeah, it's southwest for sure. We see MC Gainey, and I think this is a threat he makes to somebody. Or no, is this the threat he makes to Kurt? Where he says, "What's your CB radio handle? Shit for brains."
First Kurt acts is like reaching behind him and almost hits them because they pull out suddenly.
Yes.
So then shortly after this, they meet up at a gas station, and he threatens him.
That's right. So they're having like this little confrontation. The wife has gone into the. I truly don't know the wife's name.
Amy.
I've seen this movie 3 times. Amy. Okay. I've seen this movie 3 times in 2 years. That is not a detail that I had stored up there.
Well, this movie doesn't care about her.
No. Yeah. Obviously. I mean, very, very clearly. But I do find very funny that MC Gainey is like acting as if Kurt did this on purpose, and it's just like, what would the point of that be? Like, to what end?
Yeah. So that my one qualm with this movie is that it like they're clearly going for like the strangers thing, like because you were there
or duel.
Yeah. But maybe I think less duel just because like we never like see the truck driver and he's just chasing him.
Yeah.
But it feels like they're going for like because you were home kind of thing.
Sure.
They wouldn't have done this if this hadn't have happened.
So I think the scheme is we want to steal the car, but I truly don't know. And I've watched the movie.
I think the
3
scheme
times in 2 years.
Is a kidnapping thing.
Well, but the other people they kidnapped, like, how would they like?
We'll let you go if you give us money, and then once they get the money, they shoot people in the face. Is what I'm guessing.
But the kidnapping is like the 3rd beat, or the threatening over the money is like the 3rd beat, because earlier they're like, when the two bad guys are arguing with each other and Kurt is listening, he's like, if you had just gotten them both in the truck like you're supposed to, none of this would have mattered. And my hunch is the scam is they jiggle the wires so the car stops working. He comes along, picks them up, takes them to the roadhouse, right? Mm-hmm. They call for a tow truck, and meanwhile MC Gainey and the other guy come, put the wires back together, and steal the car. Because the kidnapping thing.
So you don't think they kidnapped all those other people?
No, I think they maybe kill them, but or I think the reason why they have all that people's stuff is because it was in the car. Like they stole their car and then they sell their car. But the movie doesn't explain any of this. Like your guess is absolutely as good as mine. I'm just explaining my theory. I'm not arguing.
That's an interesting theory. I just assumed because I feel like there's not as much money in that as there is in like draining people's bank accounts.
If they have a bank account worth draining, like it's like the only information they have is what kind of car they drive, which is not really indicative of somebody's monetary, how much money somebody has.
No. Which I think is sort of the crux of the movie, that like they bought this new car and they don't have any money left.
Right. And they're like, they hate their jobs and they're like moving cross country and all that stuff. So they kind of, MC Gainey and Kurt are having this fight. The wife comes out of the store loaded for bear with road trip junk food, which I do want to talk about.
Oh yeah.
And they're like, all right, this guy's weird. Let's get the hell out of here.
No. Kurt is saying that, and they've written this woman, this little ship adrift, to be like, la 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 la, what's happening?
To be fair, she does not know any of this has happened. She has been procuring the combos.
You don't. I walk up to this conversation. I know something's weird, and I'm immediately on my man's side.
Yeah, I don't know. She clearly does not have much agency in this movie, New York.
Yeah. It's like I recently did a 9-10 hour drive one way and so 20 hours both ways, and it was going through some scary parts of the country as a queer person. There was a lot of putting my hair up in a hat because if you don't know, listeners, I have long hair down past my shoulders, and so I would put it up in a hat and all these other things to just sort of be incognito.
Did you consider an alternate disguise, which was being in a wrestling singlet with boots and big sunglasses? Because people would be like, "Oh, that guy's on the way to the wrestling show." Ding.
Yeah, I could have done a full Macho Man thing, but you either like lean into the glitter, or you hide it, and I chose hide. I could be like, I could pretend I was the number one Macho Man impersonator.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, no, I was more thinking that you were just like a regional wrestler.
Oh, okay. I mean, yeah.
You're like Jerry the Mechanic Brawl Man.
But then I feel like they might ask questions, and I'm not prepared for any questions.
And they're like, what's your signature catchphrase? And you're like, I'll tune you up.
Okay.
Right off the top of the dome, I'm coming up with this guy.
That's fair.
You've seen Ready to Rumble. You could have pulled something out of that.
It's been a long time since I've seen Ready to Rumble, though.
To me, combos is a food that I exclusively eat on car trips, and I don't dislike them, but they taste better while driving. I've convinced myself.
I think they're a classic cheese pretzel combo is pretty much almost always a road trip food. I will sometimes eat the blue cheese and spicy ones outside of a road trip.
Oh, are you talking about like a cheese pretzel nugget?
Yeah, the
like
combos.
Like a Snyder's nuggets? Okay.
No.
Combo.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was ripping off what you said with the combo. Cheese pretzel combo.
When you said a cheese pretzel combo, I was imagining that
cheese pretzel combination. No.
Yeah, like a handy snack, but where you dip the sticks in instead of having a little plastic square rectangle.
But my boyfriend, our go-to snack is always baked Lay's. I don't know why they're so good. I think they harken to like a Pringle to me.
They are Pringles. That's why I don't care for them.
But it's a Pringle without having to do the duck hand and try and
Wait. You put your hand in the Pringles too?
Well, I mean, when I'm driving, I can't tip it over because then what if I get crumbs all over myself?
Well, that's your partner is supposed to be the snack.
So then he gets crumbs all over his side of the car, and then they just sit there forever.
That's fine. You could get a napkin or get there's a way. There's just. I'm just imagining the two of you treating a Pringles tube as if it's the green orbs in fucking The Rock, where Nick Cage is like trying to, he's got to pull the string of pearls out of the tube without jostling them. I'm picturing you guys being like, all right, I want some chips, and the music gets all tense, and you're just like carefully pulling the chips up like they're a barrel of monkeys.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't eat Pringles, so there's not much to picture, but
I feel like when I tilt the tube of Pringles, I get like some Pringles and then a very mouth-sized amount of crumbs, and I just pick up the stack of chips, eat the crumbs, and put the stack back down.
That's why we just do the bag of baked Lay's.
Yeah, no, I get it. I don't really care for Pringles. It's like every once in a while. The only thing I really enjoy about a Pringle is just pure gluttony of getting like a stack of like 6.
Oh, yeah.
And just going all at once.
Yeah, I like that they sell the short stack of Pringles.
Yeah,
which
the one you try to put the whole thing in your mouth.
No. But that way I don't have to have, because I'm like, I'll occasionally be like, you know what, I want a sour cream and onion Pringle I want to feel like I'm 7 years old again, because that was my snack of choice for a very long time.
Oh yeah. Sour cream and onion is the best Pringle to me.
I like cheddar.
Of all the varietals. I don't. Cheddar's okay, but I'm a SCO boy for the Pringles. It's funny you mentioned putting your hand in the tube, because I was truly, you said 7 years old just now. I think I was younger than 7 the last time I could put my hand in a Pringles tube. It's been a fucking long time. I can get like a 2-finger try to like do a crab.
I feel like that's your wife's job now. That was part of the vows.
She does have a slender hand for Pringles tube retrieval, but I was just trying to imagine, like, I can't remember the last time I tried to get this thing in a Pringles tube.
That would be a funny thing for Pringles to do as a marketing gimmick for like Jason Kelsey, now that like even more in that cultural echelon, but like we've made it like a special Jason Kelsey Pringles tube that like is big enough for his paw to reach into.
It's like a double size.
Yeah. But yeah, I would.
The other one I do, and it's rare. It's like every 3 years, because I've gotten to the age where I can't I do not enjoy drinking a full one, but I'll do an icy like once every 3 years. It calls to me, and I'm like, oh, let's icy it up.
That's fair. Usually, I just get the biggest size, and my boyfriend and I split it.
Yeah. I do that too, expecting my wife to have some, and then she has like
half a sip?
ounce and a half worth. Yeah, exactly. Maybe 1 shot glass's worth, and she's like, "Well, that's too much sugar." Yeah,
I do like to do the custom Coke thing at the Wawas. Ever since there was the weird ginger ale cream soda mixture they put out for the They put that out in AMC's for the Top Gun sequel, and I truly cannot figure out what the thought was there. But it's a delicious combo, so I make that a combo all the time in the diets.
Is there a someone out there who's seen it? Is there a scene in Top Gun Maverick where Tom Cruise is like, "I love a cream soda,"
or maybe like Val Kilmer does? Like does he combine them, or his wife?
I think Val Kilmer is doing next to no movement in that movie. He was very sick.
Oh, I thought that was a vocal cord sickness, not a movement sickness.
I just think he's like sitting very rigidly in a chair and has like a very little bit of dialogue.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone can tell me why that was the thing for the movie. That'd be great.
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
But then I also like to do. They're not always available.
So wait, this is a cream soda icy, or you're saying just
it's a soda? It's a combo ginger ale cream soda.
Okay. At the
at the freestyle machine. The other chip option I do, it's not available everywhere, but I do a kettle chip dark russet.
Oh,
I don't know why the like texture is different compared to like a normal white potato kettle chip.
It's probably more skin on it, or something.
But it is like a crispier, shatterier chip. And it is.
All right, I gotta look that one up. That sounds right up my alley.
Yeah, it's got the brown stripes at the top of the bottom. So, like, it's like
right.
kettle chip.
The bag.
Yeah, hers kettle chips.
Okay, all right. We'll keep an eye out for that one. Hit us up on when we post this on the Twitter or Facebook. Let us know your road trip snacks.
Yeah.
We would
also Twizzlers is a sweet.
Okay, that's a good one. We eat these donuts. We're eating these. Well,
they don't eat the donuts. We see them floating in the river later. They don't eat the donuts.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they do not get to eat the donuts. But the donuts have a competition on them that is either $90,000 or 90,000 donuts. and like
that
they
feels
have
like
a little
it's
bit of a back and forth.
It's there so that little kids, if you win, your
Yes.
little kids will be like, "Give me donuts," and parents have to be like,
and you're like, no. Yeah, exactly. I think mom and dad need to step in and be like, sorry.
Yeah.
That's a dumb thing that you want. Especially because back then, this package of donuts probably cost $1.
maybe 2.
A little 6-pack.
Yeah, the donuts.
It probably cost $1 at the grocery store and $2 or so at the convenience store.
That's right. I genuinely was like, are we about to get Chekhov's 90,000 donuts? Like, is that where this is leading to?
Yeah, it does. It is like a little bit belabored, but also it's like, you know what kind of movie you're watching. It's like, let's get those cookies on the bottom shelf.
Yeah.
Like, we want the payoff should work for everyone. What drives me nuts though here is, so the car starts being weird and like he's losing control of it, and they end up kind of coming to a stop, but they're on the road and they're at the bottom of a hill, and I'm just like, no one can see you. Like, anyone coming from that direction.
They are far enough
zero.
from the crest of the hill though that there is some time, assuming people aren't doing 100.
Yeah, but the highways out there, man, like some of them are 80-mile-an-hour speed limits.
It's like the Autobahn.
Yeah. Like I've driven a lot out there for like the national park trips we do. They're mostly road trips, and it's like swaths of Montana I think was 85 speed limit.
That's
like,
my kind of speed limit.
It is crazy, but you know, we drove to Great Basin in Nevada, and it was a road very much like this, the kind where you get like sort of hypnotized as you're looking straight ahead because the heat lines and stuff kind of roll across the road left to right. But it's called the Highway to Nowhere in Nevada, or the Endless Highway, Empty Highway. It has a strange name like that. I'm forgetting it right now. But we drove 4 hours, and the number of cars that passed us, we started keeping track of. It was under 10. Like there's nobody and nothing, and so. Like, yeah, obviously that kind of undercuts my point of like, oh, who cares? They're on the road. But it's like, you're just cooking. Like you have the cruise control on 85 and you're just like, you know, there's no turns. The road, you know, it's just, you know, long roads. But I could just see, you know, this 18-wheeler comes to a stop, thankfully. But I could see a world in which it's just like, yeah. And then, you know, this car is in pieces. I was just like, your car, you have speed rolling down the hill, just like steer off the road, can't steer. Kurt. Right, I know, but like, you know, really give it to it.
I mean, yeah,
there's some shoulder in there.
I will. So okay, I'm just gonna. I kept being like, when did someone mess with this car?
Yes, and then it's impossible to figure out.
Later, they try and like do a gotcha moment. He's like, you should learn how to keep the hood up when you go inside the store, and it's like, yeah, well, the hood wasn't up. I don't think,
and he didn't go in the store. His wife.
Yeah, I was like, so when did this happen?
Yeah,
because if there was a scene of Kurt opening the hood and going in and leaving to go into the store. Oh, you know what? The hood was up. He was putting something in it, but I thought he put it down. It just did not.
Maybe. You know what happened? I'm piecing it together, and I again watched this movie 3 times in 2 years. I should just know this. MC Gainey has another guy in the car.
Yeah,
it's probably the little sniveling guy. The actor's name is Jack Noseworthy.
Oh, okay.
So maybe MC Gainey starts the confrontation with Kurt. Meanwhile, the other guy comes around and pull some wires.
Maybe, but that would have been a fun thing to see, like in that one episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine where Gina commandeers the Halloween heist, and she's like, I've been here the whole time, and then they cut to like, she's actually been in the background of shots.
Yes. Yeah. Like a Back to the Future 2.
Yeah. Or Greg Pakaitis from Parks and Rec.
Yeah. Yes, Greg
Pakaitis. Because I was like, even though this woman has no survival instincts or self-preservation instincts, she's like a newborn baby. If she's in the car and someone walks up to the hood of the car, she's going to say something. Like, she at least give her that much. So I didn't like that it seemed so hand-wavy.
You also could have had an easy scene where the guy was like, oh, is this the V8? You know? Yeah. Just like asking an engine question to Kurt and his wife who do not know the answers to them. It would have been so easy to have that.
Mm-hmm. Like if you know, he says something just as the gas clicks and Kurt turns and the guy can like, I don't need to watch him reach in and like be creepy. But like if I can see his hand in the engine when Kurt's not looking, I can piece that together.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. That is the one part that is like not on the bottom shelf with the cookies for people. It's just like, it's fine. I don't really care. It doesn't make the movie worse, but that would have made this feel more sinister.
Mm-hmm. Because this movie does a really good job of making everybody feel suspicious. Like every single person that they meet, that is everyone you meet that's not Kurt Russell or Amy feels creepy and suspicious.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. No, it's really well done. Like the thriller element of this comes so much from how I guess claustrophobic's not the right word because it's so open, but the just like I can't trust anybody and nobody is here to help me part of it is like the helplessness, I guess, of it.
It's like the Mousetrap, that show we saw in London, where it's Agatha Christie, so of course it's brilliant, but like it sets up that everybody could be the person.
Right. Yeah. You can't trust anybody or whatever. And like there's so many sort of paranoid type thrillers that do the you can't trust anybody and don't do it as well as this movie, which isn't really that kind of thriller, but still is playing with that stuff.
Yeah. Because I feel like half the time they do them now, it's like it is the question of I can't trust anyone, but it's layered with like, is the protagonist actually just crazy?
Yes. And in this, we don't do any of that. We're just like, his wife is missing. It's fine. Like we all know the truth.
Yeah, it's like there was a Jodie Foster movie about her daughter on a plane.
Red Eye.
No. Red Eye is the Rachel McAdams, Cillian Murphy on a plane.
Oh, Flight Plan.
Yes, I think it's Flight Plan, where her daughter is on the plane and disappears, and everyone is like, "You don't have a daughter."
Yeah, there's a point in that movie where I was like, wait, is the daughter fake? Like, and like I got annoyed because, as you know, I don't like when the movies lie to me.
Yeah.
And I was just like, what? Wait, what? No, fuck you. I saw this kid. And then like, it cared that movie.
The only time I'm okay with a movie lying to me is if they present to me that it is not unfaithful.
An unreliable narrator.
Thank you. Unreliable narrator. Like Darren Aronofsky in Black Swan. Like, we know from the jump that Natalie Portman is an unreliable narrator. So it's okay that it's also supposed to be up in the air of questioning. Have you ever watched that one yet?
Yeah.
I know we talked about it.
No. The other thing is like I generally, going back to like middle school and high school, I really don't care for the unreliable narrator thing in fiction. It's just like I generally don't like it. And I remember writing a paper about that, like how annoying I found this character, and the person's like, well, that's the point of it. And I was like, that doesn't mean I have to like it.
What were you writing about?
I don't recall. It was
a book, I assume.
English, some English assignment, a book, or a short story or something like that.
Yeah,
I've never been a big fan of that.
I obviously have more space in my heart for the unreliable narrator than you do, but I highly recommend Black Swan just as like it's a really great character study because it's beyond like the unreliable narrator in terms of like, oh, they're just who cares? You know what I mean? Like sometimes it can be very like whatever, but this feels like purposeful.
Yeah. Aronofsky's a weird director in that like all of his stuff makes me feel so bad that it's hard to just like, well, here's a movie that's gonna ruin the day for me.
I'm trying to think if I don't think Black Swan ruins. Black Swan doesn't make me want to like go dance down the street, but it doesn't. I don't think it ruins my day.
Okay, because I thought Black Swan was in the Bummer City vein of like a Requiem for a Dream or The Wrestler.
I think it's closer to The Wrestler than Requiem.
Okay, because The Wrestler is Bummer City, USA.
No, it's not really. I wouldn't say it's a bummer movie.
Okay.
It's definitely got like a what do you think happened kind of ending, but I wouldn't say it's a bummer ending.
Gotcha.
And again, anyone in the comments, anyone wants to tweet at us or whatever, pop off. Let me know what you think.
Yeah. So the car's stuck. The car's not working. And this is the part where it's just like, man, you get so much free production value in filming in places like this. Cause it's just, they just have Kurt and Amy just standing there, like having this conversation, and behind them are these just incredible vistas. And it's just like, it's just free. It doesn't cost anything. You just point the camera at it, Nobody made a damn thing for the set. It just fucking drove a car out in the middle of the Southwest and pulled it over.
You sound like Lady Gaga talking about her one music video where it wasn't supposed to rain, but it started raining, and they're like, "We're gonna have to wrap it," and she was like, "We just got free rain. We're not wrapped. Like, roll the cameras. I will pay for anything that breaks. We're shooting the goddamn rain."
Like Prince at the Super Bowl, where it was just fucking pouring rain in Miami, and they were like, "Can we do anything for you?" And he said, "Can you make it rain harder?" And just pranced out there in his 6-inch heels and just melted faces. So JT Walsh shows up, the truck driver. I have here written down that he was in Wired, previous episode of this podcast, that unbelievably tasteless John Belushi movie.
Oh, the one about
the death of John Belushi,
yes.
but like the unauthorized biography.
Mm-hmm.
And
with Michael Chiklis as Belushi?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Weird.
And this might be completely misremembered, but like I feel like I remember a confrontation between him and Jim Belushi at one point or another.
That feels correct, but
I don't. That could be completely made up by me. I don't remember, but that feels like
the level of
something
taste.
that if I was in that situation, I might have words for Michael Chiklis.
Mm-hmm. I even wrote here because early they started talking about, oh, you need to have a CB radio. I was like, oh well, that's a ding, because the people he almost hit drive right past him, and then like I don't know, a mile down the road, they see them stop and turn around.
Yes,
and, like
yes,
the gay panic in me seeing that happen.
Yeah, no, I mean you don't have to be. I was fucking scared shitless too. It's scary as hell. That guy's terrifying.
And then a semi truck comes up behind them. Did they CB with this semi truck driver? Yeah.
They
did. Spoiler
you
alert.
picked up on it. You picked up on it earlier than me, for sure.
And then what's it? CJ.
JT Walsh is also an executive decision, by the way. Definite future episode, but the one with still
Van Damme.
fucking nope, the other guy,
Seagal. He's looking in the car and he goes, "Boy, all these chips and used to be able to kick it and it would start over. And now it's all chips and computers." And I was like, "Oh, buddy, just you wait."
Yeah.
If you think this is chips and computers, just because it has a radio.
Yeah. Honestly, it's bonkers watching people fix older cars. I obviously it wasn't like a show about it, but that American Pickers, they would buy a car occasionally, and you'd see them like put the hood up, jiggle a few things, and then like pinch something and be like, "Give it a try," and then you're hold on, jiggle some more things, and it would run horrible sounding, but it would turn on.
Yeah, it was a lot of faith in kicking to make old cars work.
Yeah. So he takes the wife.
He goes, "Well, I'll give you both a ride to this diner, and you can call a tow truck."
Yeah.
And Kurt's like,
which is why I have my theory, obviously.
Kurt wisely goes, "No, thank you." And his wife is like, "Are you sure? How about I just get in the truck and go to the diner?" And it's like, lady, have you never read a newspaper?
Yeah. Oh, first of all, my move is definitely both of us getting in the car, I think, in this.
It's both or none. Like, this is...
Yeah.
There's not a world where I'm like, yeah, sure.
Certainly there's a world in which you go like, oh, do you mind stopping in and sending a tow truck? Or can you call for one on your CB radio or some sort of...
He does. Well, he says, my CB is broken.
Oh, that's right. He does get out of that.
Yeah.
But I do have an important question for you.
Okay.
So wife hops in the truck, partner hops in the truck, steams away. You're with the vehicle. Mm-hmm. Does the truck get all the way out of sight before you start eating the donuts?
Yes.
Because it's like the second that thing goes down the hill and I can't see it anymore, it's like, well, I guess I better have a donut.
Yeah, 100%. That's what I have to wait. Yeah. Well, my boyfriend loves donuts particularly, so I have to wait.
It's like the moment that I'm sure they can't see me, I'm like, well, I guess it's time to eat lunch.
Yeah. I feel like I might be Parks and Rec. I don't know. I'm picturing a movie or a TV show where they're like, we've gone through all of our rations. And like, it's been 15 minutes.
Yeah. I think it was somebody stuck in an elevator, maybe.
That sounds right. But yeah, it would be a lot of baked lay crumbs.
So Kurt goes back, he's looking under the hood, and he sees the unplugged wires, and he has like one of those, I can like hear in my head the tenor of the voice of the like, well, what the hell, and then like just immediately fixing it.
Because he sees it from above, and then gets under the car and fixes it. And I was like, well, weren't you all looking at this car like a while?
Yeah. My assumption is like he was like looking through. You know how if you like put the hood up, you can see through the vehicle.
Yeah.
Like I think what he eventually did was like just change his sight enough that he saw the wire hanging, because I think it was like a wire that goes from the bottom to the top, disconnected at the top, therefore it's dangling out of the bottom.
Yeah.
So he was able to see it from a different angle, and he just like reconnects it. He gets the car started right up. He drives over to this little, disgusting diner looking place.
Well, they call it a diner. It doesn't feel very dinery to me.
It's a weird, I don't know what you call it though, right? Because it's like, it's not a bar. It does serve beer, but it's not a bar.
Yeah.
And there's like a flat top griddle back there.
But he's not cooking. I can't imagine this man's cooking much. Like, there's no ice cream or milkshakes. There's no.
No.
There's no
ice
desserts.
Cream. I think it honestly, like the closest equivalent is like a cheesesteak place.
Yeah. Okay. But sloppier. A slop
But
shop.
obviously but they're not serving cheesesteaks. I think it's like you're getting your eggs, your bacon, maybe a burger on that thing.
Yeah. A burger feels good.
Yeah. A roadhouse, perhaps, in the truest sense of the word.
Is that what that is? I thought that was a bar.
Maybe.
I thought that was like a bar.
I'm not sure.
The movie's coming out. I
just
think the next something.
Yeah. Ugh.
Who is it?
Just
Gyllenhaal?
Yeah, and that fucking Conor McGregor shithead is in it too.
Oh, is he like the bad guy, you think?
I watched the trailer.
He's the one who walks like an octopus, right?
He walks with his chest very large, if that's what
he does like...
Yeah, like a Vince McMahon.
He walks like an octopus.
Fellow piece of shit, Vince McMahon. Yeah, no, I mean, he walks like a guy who has a big chest. I used to walk that way,
Except
too.
Conor McGregor does not... I'm sorry.
Strong.
I've seen big chests. Conor McGregor
McGregor is probably incredibly strong, but I agree with you, he does not have a large physical presence.
Yeah, if like Chris Hemsworth is like a big chest guy. Chris Evans, I would say, is a big chest guy.
Yeah, it's the two of them. I mean, it looks fine. I just love that other movie so damn much. It breaks my heart that we recorded that in Mom's room. That
we could redo. I haven't watched that movie in, I don't know, when did we do that? 6 years ago? At this point?
It might even be longer. When we redid Girls Just Want to Have Fun, I wanted to do that one. And I was like, you were correct that like Girls Just Want to Have Fun is the logical 250. But maybe when we hit 300, we'll do Roadhouse again. Yeah. That movie is so fucking entertaining.
We'll redo Roadhouse for Patreon when the movie comes out.
I thought about that, but the movie comes out in like a week.
Well.
I tried to put it in the schedule and it just didn't line up. So, the funny story with the new one is Gyllenhaal and the director. I can't remember the director's name right now, but I did have it in my head. Were like so convinced that the movie should be coming out in theaters that they basically commandeered Bezos's yacht and were like, "Hey, you got to watch the movie." And then apparently he watched the movie and was like, "Yeah, we're still not going to put it in theaters."
I gotta say, I love that not everything goes to theaters now. Like, it's nice to have more movies just like available at home.
I mean, I like going to the movies, so I
do
don't
too,
necessarily agree with you.
I don't think everything. Here's the thing: not everything needs to be a theater movie. Sorry, like.
Yeah, you and I disagree on this a little. I think.
You think everything is a theater movie?
I think that going to things, I think a lot of people think that the only thing that is worth seeing in a theater is like big spectacle stuff. And like, I think seeing a comedy in a packed house is way better than watching it at home. 10 times out of 10. Like Barbie, I gave Barbie a way higher grade on first viewing in the theater than I did rewatching it at home because it was a packed theater of people laughing at the jokes.
Yeah, I saw it in theaters like, 3 times, I think. And it was always like the very electric feeling. But then I saw it at home and I was like, I forgot how wonderful this movie is.
Yeah, when I watch it at home, it just like it's fine. Like I never liked Barbie as much as everybody else, which isn't to say I thought it was
the
bad.
Movie or the doll.
Barbie is like a C plus B minus movie to me, which is not like I don't think a very strong position. But obviously, if I had said that at the time, people would have punched me. But
I would think it's at least a B plus.
Watching it in the theater was more like a solid BB plus movie, and I think like it's like an 82. Like, it's fine. I'm not saying it's a bad movie. It's a well-made movie that's pretty good. But it's not necessarily for me, which is fine. And I liked it a lot more in the theater is all I'm saying. Is like I got a big bump from seeing it in the theater. So even stuff like The Holdovers, I went and saw it in the theater, and just like,
oh, that's the one. That's the little character drama, right?
With Giamatti, yeah. And like if I go to I'm pretty good about not playing with my phone at home and stuff, but like I don't know, man, just something about sitting in a dark room with some strangers and enjoying a piece of art is I really value. So I do always nothing I won't see in theater.
I do always point to one of my favorite cinema experiences was seeing Disturbia, that Shia LaBeouf thing.
Yeah.
Because I was 8th grade, 9th grade,
that's about right.
Maybe 10th. I was like peak like demographic for this movie. I saw it like the weekend it came out, if not the Friday it came out, with like 10 of my friends and like a theater packed of people my age, roughly. And like it was just like a very like energizing experience because we all were like reacting together. So I do see the point.
Yeah, there is a even in the like, you know, I saw The Holdovers during the week between Christmas and New Year's when my office is closed, and like there was like 3 other people. It's not like I was in there with a packed house, right? But there's just something about, you know, having that communal experience that I really enjoy. So I don't begrudge other people for not liking to going, but I love to go, and so I will see all sorts of stuff there. So Roadhouse is probably 10 times more fun, like especially at a, you know, maybe you go to Alamo Draft House where you can have a couple beers during it. Like that's probably way more fun than it would be on my couch.
Or like a bar. Honestly, sure, Roadhouse at a bar screening. Like I feel like that would be a fun experience.
Yeah, no, sure. Yeah. But yeah, I like, you know, there's something special about seeing a movie in the theater to me, and I understand that not everybody feels that way, and that's fine. But there's almost nothing that I wouldn't see in a theater.
That's fair. Like I just saw that the new Mean Girls is already on Paramount Plus, and I was like, good, because I have minimal desire to see this, but I will watch it here.
I mean, that to me is exactly the like. I probably wouldn't have gone to see the new Roadhouse in theaters, but because it's going to come to Prime, I'll just watch it the Friday that it comes out. You know,
yeah. I've made it like I've done that. Like I think I did that with Red, White, and Royal Blue on Prime. I did that with Godzilla v Kong. I was like, hey, boyfriend, we're doing a movie experience with like we're turning off all the lights.
Sure.
I made the cheesy pretzel bites the micro for in the oven like. We did like movie theater snacks and foods.
Right. Yep.
I was like, with minimal pausing, my dude. So you gotta control that bladder. We can if we need to, but I really don't want to.
I'll do like one pause for a movie matinee at home.
Yeah.
Hard limits. But yeah, so like, yeah, I don't know. I'm a movie in theaters person. I advocate for. I don't want them to go away.
I don't want them to go away either, but.
Yeah, and that's like you got to go or they go away. That's how that works.
Yeah.
So, anyway, Kirk gets there. He starts asking for his wife, and nobody wants to help him. Particularly this bartender owner guy
who's like
played by
being aggressively suspicious.
Yes. Also, his name is Jack McGee, the actor. You might know him from Moneyball as one of the scouts, or Basic Instinct, or one of 221 additional film and television credits in his career.
Wow.
But yeah, he is really aggressive.
100% that man was on Murder, She Wrote.
Yo, I would bet my life. But he's like very suspicious from the jump. He won't answer Kurt's questions, and they're not like complicated questions. It's like very, very strange.
And it's not like Kurt like is sweaty and kicked open the door. He like walked in calmly and was like, "Hey, my wife was meeting me here. This is what she looks like. This is her description. Did you see her?"
Yeah. And the guy does the like, "Yeah, no one's here by that name." Kind of like jackal laugh.
Yeah, he's very like Joe Pesci in Home Alone level. I am suspicious.
Yeah. So he drives on, and we get this like weird flutes on the soundtrack. The soundtrack is mostly okay, but there's a couple moments where I was very like, huh? And in this one, it's just this like real flute-based score.
Like the
not really convey.
Like the old plastic screens in like a Target with like CD covers on them, and you would push it, and you would hear the different like Celtic moods and whale sounds.
Also, the like very similar to the guy that used to post up in like a Times Square or other similar touristy area and blast music that sounded mostly flute based, and then just kind of like stand there with CDs for sale, but like not do a lot of pitching, but just be playing this loud flute music.
Just put the CD in your hand and then yell at you to pay him.
Not necessarily that guy, although that happened to me last time I was in New York a couple years ago, and I was like, oh, no thanks, man, and he left me alone. And then I genuinely had the thought, I was like, I don't know what I would even do with that. Like, I have a CD player in my car still, and that is it.
Yeah, like hang on.
Neither my
laptop
or work computer.
Yeah, neither my work nor my personal laptop have a thing. I guess I could put it in my PS5 and play a CD.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Is yes, I could put a CD in my PS5. That is what I could.
Or in my car.
Yeah. So he finds Walsh and like forces him to pull over, which is starts this little confrontation. Rex Lynn shows up, the aforementioned cliffhanger Reba McEntire dater. Only 108 credits for Rex Lynn, so a slacker.
I was like, this cop's too convenient. The fact that he shows up immediately, like.
Yes. So here's the funny thing. I've seen this movie twice in 3 years, but because I had just watched Cliffhanger, where he's like a really good bad guy, I spent the whole time being like, well, he's in on it. And then he's not in on it.
Yeah, he's like a good guy.
He's just a bad, blundering cop who like doesn't take Kurt Russell's word for it, which like, I don't know, in this situation doesn't seem insane. Like he goes, JT Walsh lets him open the back. He lets him search the cab. There's just no evidence. I will say, maybe
when he was like, he like opens the back of the truck, which it's not is it the bed? Do you call it the bed for those trucks too?
I don't think so. I think you would call it the back.
So he like does the garage door like on the back of the truck, and there's nothing in there. But I was like, well, what if there's a false back? Like, what if that wall is fake?
Yeah,
and you pull it down or something, like pull it to the side or something.
Yeah. He could have done the like pace it out thing, which I would have been interesting. Like just from a movie, like I always enjoy seeing a character do that in a movie, like the find a false wall.
Yeah,
but to my untrained eye, it certainly looked about right. You know,
I mean, yeah, it looked right. But if someone says their wife has been kidnapped, and the truck driver's letting you in the truck, do the thing.
Yeah. And
because he's not pretending he's never even met Kurt Russell before. He's trying to get fully gaslighting him.
Yeah. And Kurt's obviously losing his mind. He hops up in the cab of the car and does something I think is very smart, and I definitely would not think I would think of under this situation. He starts searching the headrest for one of his wife's hairs to see if it's like stuck on there.
I didn't even catch that's what he was doing.
Yeah, he checks the back, he like yells his wife's name a couple times, and then he gets really close to the headrest that she would have been using, and he's clearly like looking for a hair that he could like. I wanted a scene where he's like holding up one of his wife's hairs, and the cop and JT Walsh are like rolling their eyes at him because that's what I was expecting.
Which I have to say, as my hair's growing longer, I feel like I'm shedding more, which I think is just like because it's longer, I can see it more. Yeah. So if I ever go missing, there's going to be a lot of hair, a lot of places.
So he lets Walsh leave. He tells Kurt to go.
There's also a very neutral reference of gay guys. Like,
oh really?
Yeah. The cop is saying like, look, he's like, because the cop's supposed to be like, maybe your wife just left you, and Kurt's like, okay, no, like that. There's a difference between she left me and this trucker took her, and he's like, hey, two people in a car, they start to go after each other. I've seen it. Husbands and wives, gay guys. I've seen men drop their wives' bodies by the side of the road and vice versa. And I was like, oh, a very neutral. How delightful.
There are people that exist in the world. Yeah.
What a low bar.
And yet we're celebrating it for multiple sentences. They go to the police station, and this town has like a horror movie level number of missing posters.
True. I was like, well, hang the fuck on.
Like, don't you guys see it? That's why I was like, oh, clearly the cops are crooked because they don't give a shit about this. And it's like, no, they're just standard film and television level inept.
I was like, oh, this is like a like Silent Hill or Resident Evil or some like. This is too many missing posters.
Yes. It's absolutely too many missing posters.
When you have to start overlapping them and the middle of the board bulks out because there's so many posters, at what point do we try and think of something else?
I can't believe we haven't mentioned this yet, but this is an incredibly sweaty movie. Like,
Oh,
literally
God.
sweaty. Everybody has a glistening forehead and upper lip. But there's like a fan going in the police station, and the posters have this like ripple, and it's like so much paper ripple noise because of how many of them are in there. Like, it's as if like multiple notebooks were just like flapping in the breeze. It's crazy.
Well, and the best is this, the deputy that he talks to in the police station is very dismissive. He's like, look, there's no evidence, like the FBI. So I guess I'm thinking the whole you have to wait 24 hours to report someone missing is an FBI thing, not a police thing.
Yeah.
And it just became a police thing in movie and TV.
I don't think it's even that. Like, you're saying that the FBI won't get involved for a day.
Yeah, it makes sense that the FBI are like, hey, we can't jump for every single thing, but the local police can, will, and should.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that's where that wire got crossed along all the line, like the game of telephone. But he's like, honestly, like whatever. And Kurt is staring at this wall, like a after a tragedy wall of missing persons posters, and he keeps being like, "What are you looking at over there?" And it's like, hey, the evidence that you don't do your job, the evidence that my wife is another face on this board.
Yeah. And the cop's speech is like, yeah, people just go missing. You never hear from them again. You know, hell, sometimes if you're lucky, you might find some bones 20 years later or something, but you know, DNA and all that.
Read
really
the room, my dude.
Yeah, it's like, this man is in trouble. Be nice to him.
But they keep shooting him, like the deputy, from like a low angle, so he looks kind of like weird and suspicious and scary.
Yeah.
And then he goes back to the diner, and again, the diner guy is like, it's as if the bad guys are under the counter pointing a gun at him.
Yes.
Is it the way he's acting to get rid of Kurt Russell?
Yeah. Also, I love, this is like a classic actor bit of business thing. He's just rubbing two knives together, which is nothing. Like you never ever would want to do this for any reason.
Oh, I
It's
thought
not
it was
like
one of the honing sticks.
Nope. It's just two knives, and he's going like, like just trading which knife is scraping which knife. It's just, you're doing nothing. You're just making threatening motions and noise.
Yeah.
But yeah, the fact that later this guy isn't part of it is astounding.
Yeah, well, and the deputy. I thought they were all in on it.
Yes.
Because the guy's
this guy is so adversarial to him. It's just like, there's just no reason to be this adversarial. Be confused or whatever.
This man says his wife is missing and is clearly distraught. Like,
yeah. And like, clearly we find out that the wife never did come in here. Like, JT Walsh clearly never brought her to this place. And so this guy truly does just think he's insane. But in the moment, his cavalier indifference is bizarre.
it's very strange because he's going through his like receipt slips or his like order things.
Yeah.
And he's like, you write down everyone's name. I need to see your receipt slips. And the guy's like, I don't have to show you anything. And it's like,
yeah.
well, if the wife didn't come in, then what's the problem?
Right. Yeah. Like the order slips is not secret. It's like, there's nothing to be gained by looking at these for anyone. Like, all he would do is like flip through them and see no answer. But I think this guy is probably just like, get this fucking crazy man out of my store. But yeah, this whole thing is bonkers.
Yeah. And so he goes outside and there's
also a bit where they're like, check the ladies' room. And he like bursts in there and this lady is just puking her guts out and is like, I'll be right with you, hun.
She sounds like the one sex worker from Futurama, the old lady with the blonde hair and the cigarette.
Yeah. Yeah. She also, this is a reference for probably not you, but there was a very sweet sex worker on My Name is Earl who was Patty the daytime hooker.
Oh, yeah, I vaguely remember her.
Okay. She's a very, like, the character was treated very tenderly on that show, despite the name, which it feels very out of date, even though the show's not that old. But she reminded me of her in the actress reminded me of her.
I can see that. So Kurt goes.
Oh, also he pulls a gun on Kurt.
Yeah, he does.
He tries to look at the order slips. We didn't mention that.
He's too aggressive. So Kurt goes outside to call the police again. And he meets a new stranger who's quote unquote slow, because that's a trope in these kind of things.
Yeah, and it's like ooh, this is a really problematic performance, and then you find out, well, it is, but it is also a performance.
It is in the kayfabe, it is a performance.
I believe this actor is in the Brady Bunch movie. Don't
really
quote me on that. Yeah, I wrote that there right after his name.
Well,
so
I love the Brady Bunch movie. Now I want to hang on 2 seconds.
Jack Noseworthy. I'm gonna continue while you do that Google. So, Kurt is like starting to. Jack Noseworthy gives Kurt a little information, like, oh, they took her here, they did this thing, it's information, that he might need, and you think he's helping him, but it's really not that at all. But we don't find that out just yet, and so
yeah, we learn it's a ruse. He was the neighbor. He was the like teen boy neighbor in the Brady Bunch movie. He's also like on Broadway and stuff now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He sings and whatnot?
He was in a show called Come From Away, which is like a really great true story of, I can't remember where the town is, but on 9/11 when they had to divert all the planes, this town of 150 people
Canada.
in Canada. Yeah, this town in Canada, 150 people became a town of like 2,000 people overnight. And they were like,
yes, I heard about that. I've heard that play is really tremendous.
Yeah.
I would like to see that. So he's like trying to follow the directions this guy gave him, and he thinks the police are in on it, which we do too as an audience at this point. Even the people who've seen the movie 3 times in 2 years. I felt like Mom very much with that.
oh, there you go.
In my defense, one, I've said before that as I've gotten older, I'm like, oh, I totally get it. And 2, I literally had the week before watched Cliffhanger where Rex Linn is a bad guy. So my defense,
okay, fair.
He's pretty embedded as a bad guy in my brain. But I'm just loose wires up there. But I love that Kurt backs through the gate, because people never do that in movies, and that is what you're supposed to do. If you need to ram through something with your car, you should always do it butt first, because the engine is not there.
Yeah.
So if you're less likely to disable your vehicle.
There's also no warnings of this road closure until the gate, which seems,
right.
Again, suspicious.
Yeah. So then we get this great chase with MC Gainey.
Yeah, it's really awesome. He hits a dead end and then drives down a cliff into a river.
He takes the video game shortcut where you're like, oh, I gotta go all the way down that hill. All right. Hard right.
Yeah. I'm so used to doing that. I just started playing Far Cry 3 at your recommendation.
Yeah, I was just going to ask if you have done it yet in Far Cry 3.
And those trucks and cars and ATVs are way more sensitive than most other cars and video games that I play, because you flip real easy.
My friend Chris, who was on this podcast an eternity ago, suggested I try that game at his house, 10 years ago or more. And I played it for like 10 minutes, and there was a sequence where the car rolled over, and I flinched. Like, I rolled with it. And he was like, you got immersed just as hard as I did. And I was like, that game rules. And he was like, yeah. And I went and bought it immediately.
Yeah, it's very fun.
Yeah, one of my top 5 all time, I think, at least top 10. Also, the score here as the car chase is like real Psycho-esque violins, like from Psycho, which I really, really dug. And then all I could think of was like, we're fording the river, because the car floats for like a good while.
And then the guy with I said a sniper, but it's probably just a hunting rifle. It looks like a sniper rifle because of video games.
It does look like a sniper rifle. Yeah, it does. It absolutely looks like a sniper rifle, but you're probably correct that it's a hunting rifle. But it has like the whole little front double. That's not a tripod. It only has 2 legs, but bipod, I guess.
Yeah.
For the
kickstand.
And and then Kurt eventually gets far enough away that he can swim for it, and we see the donuts floating in the river, and I'm like, my dude, you're gonna need some energy. Take the donuts. He just lets them float away.
Well, and then the mustache grabs the CB radio and says he got away, so we're starting to piece together that it's like there is a conspiracy afoot.
And they tow his car and they pull it up inside the 18-wheeler, like, all the way into the back.
Because a new guy shows up, a new trucker shows up that we haven't met yet. He's more of a daddy bear type.
Yes. Wait. There is a 4th guy, right?
Yeah, there's 4. There's Billy, Mustache, Red, and Daddy Bear.
Okay. Mustache is MC Gainey, long hair guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's got a very prominent handlebar. Or
no, he does. I was just confirming that I had the right order in my head, because I thought the other guy also had a stash. So is this when Kurt gets hit in the head?
Yeah, Billy knocks him out.
Okay, he like drops the act and then, or I guess he hits him in the head. Kurt comes to and he drops the act and Kurt's like in the trunk, blinded from the sun.
Yeah. And he's like, your wife told us you're worth a lot of money. And Mr. Donut King. And Kurt's at first like, what are you talking about? And then they call him a Donut King. And he
yes.
Which is smart, but also like, I need to see why she made this lie up, because did they say?
I think she was.
Did they say we're gonna kill you? Was she just floundering? Well, with this character, we don't know for sure that she was being threatened. She could be just like, well, we have a lot of money.
Yeah,
like she could have just offered that up.
I don't think she would offer up this lie unless she was.
She got into the cab of a stranger without her husband. So like,
yeah, but you have to remember it's 1997 and we didn't have an entire cottage industry of podcasts about women getting murdered every day.
But women knew that. Like,
yeah, I really like.
There's an instinctual fear.
You've seen Silence of the Lambs. Like, this wasn't uncommon.
But in Silence of the Lambs, Frederica in the well?
I think it's been a while.
Frederica Bimble is someone. I'm going to say that Frederica Bimble is the one in the well. When Buffalo Bill says, "Can you help me with this?" she hesitates because she's like, you can see that the robot's saying danger, Will Robinson, and she does it anyways. But you can see that she hesitates. This woman has no hesitation. She's just like, "Yeah, I'll get into a stranger's cab, sure."
Yeah, I don't know. It's broad daylight. I don't know. It doesn't shock me that she hops in there. So they're like, how much are you worth specifically? If you give us $1 different than your wife, we're gonna kill you and then her. And he remembers the donuts. You like, it's a great bit of like like the little flicker of recognition across the forehead and the eyes of like, oh, the Donut King, $90,000. Like you see the little hamster in there going
running, sprinting.
Yeah. Yeah.
He stops running and the wheel keeps going.
Yeah, yeah. And he goes like around and around and around a few times. So he blurts out that he's worth $90,000. So they drag him out of the car, and this becomes this like insanely elaborate plot from Walsh.
Kurt goes, "Why us?" And the guy goes, "Come over here," and then doesn't answer the question.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like,
which is why I'm convinced that it's like stealing cars and not this, because like you'd have no idea how much money they were worth. You know, like some of the people you pulled over might only been worth $5,000 at most, $2,000, $1,000, whatever. You know.
Well, apparently JT Walsh.
JT Walsh, yeah.
Like when he got the script, he like slashed it a lot of his dialogue because he was like, "You're giving away too much."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Well, maybe give me a little bit. give away a little bit." Like,
I do think as a big bad guy for a movie like this, he is correct in that like the less he says, the more threatening he will seem.
Truly. But, like, he doesn't have to. Someone else can say, we were just going to steal your car, but then we found out you're worth $90,000. Like,
yeah.
Just a throwaway.
The kid could say that.
Color shades in a few things because I don't understand. Because later we find out JT, whatever, has a wife and kid that, like, are completely not in on this at all.
Right.
Like, it's not like the wife goes, I thought you were just stealing cars. Like, there's...
Right.
There's nothing, so...
Yeah. So he's basically like, you're going to go in that
He's
bank,
telling him the rules of a board game.
Yes.
And Kurt's 3 drinks in already.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, all right, so what you're going to do... Now remember, you're looking for victory points, not total money accrued. You can turn in your money to earn victory points, but only after you possess the hobgoblin. Now, if you possess the hobgoblin, other players are going to try to steal the hobgoblin. Now, that can be done if you roll 2 consecutive 6s or...
And remember that if you are in possession of the hobgoblin, you have to use the red 3-sided die instead of the normal 6-sided die that the rest of the players will be using to catch up with you with the hobgoblin.
Now, if you roll a 3 with the red die, you can roll a second time, earning you up to 6 moves. Now, remember.
Once the clock strikes 10 in your home, the haunt begins, and you must leave the table with the book.
And then everyone will get up and move 1 seat to the right. Whatever's in front of you is now yours. You've abandoned your previous wares. That includes the hobgoblin. There's a great... the Australian, I think they're Australian comedy group, Auntie Donna. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't.
They do like YouTube stuff. You've probably seen one of their videos in passing
probably.
at some point because they've been around a long time. They had a great board game one that was like basically the bit we were just doing, and then the like punchline of it is the like game ends like very quick, like kind of out of nowhere, and they're like, oh, okay. And you think that the other people are kind of happy to be done with it. And the guy's like, you want to play again? And they're like, yeah, I just feel like I was getting the hang of it.
You know what? Why don't we just start playing and we'll pick it up as we go along?
Yeah. Yeah. But I love, like, they send Kurt into this bank. His shirt is ripped. He's actively bleeding. Like,
they throw a jacket on him and call it a day.
Yeah. It's like, open the man's suitcase. You have his car, like, be like, you're going to put on the nicest clothes you have in that bag. Like, let them go through it and give it to him. Like, put a Band-Aid on this thing. He's literally
sweating and bleeding and dirty
down his face. Like, of course this bank manager is not going to give him $5,000.
$90,000. They want him to give all of it.
Right. Well, Kurt doesn't have $90,000, so he's getting what he has, which is like $4,000 or $5,000. But even that is crazy.
And they're like, we've sent the only cop in town 20 miles outside of town.
Yes.
It'll be an hour before
Which is pretty clever.
Yeah, it's smart. We're all in constant contact on CB radio. We listen to all the radios. Like, if you try anything funny, we'll kill you or whatever.
Yeah. So he goes in the bank and he's like prepared to give this whole speech about the situation. And then this guy
to me, I was like, don't trust anybody.
Yeah, like, I don't know if a bank manager's in it at that point, but the car loan guy wants a car loan, spooks the hell out of him, and he stops, like, immediately trying to do that and goes back to, like, plan B, which is to take a plunger handle from the bathroom.
Well, it's funny, when he was sitting there first, I was like, oh, there's a nice, sharp, shiny letter opener.
Yeah.
You're going to grab that.
Yeah.
And then he doesn't, and then he comes back, and then he grabs it. I was like, okay, I saw that a while, like, I saw it first, come on.
Yeah. And then he also grabs all the bands of money, and clearly he must have taken all of the deposit slips at this bank because he wraps, I don't know when he has time to do this, but he wraps his very small amount of money with all these bands to make it seem like a big pile of $90,000.
He basically did what I was thinking in my head, where he was like, I need you to do, it needs to be hundreds on the end and singles in the middle.
Yes, yeah. There's another movie we watched a bunch as kids where the guy has pulls out a wad of cash, and the guy's like, how do I know that's not a 20 wrapped around a bunch of ones? And the guy has done that exact thing.
Oh, what is that? I can't remember. But I as you were saying, I was like, I know exactly the movie.
Yeah. So he goes outside, the payphone rings, and they're like, start walking down the street.
They go, keep walking till you hit the main road, walk towards the main road, and get in the first car that stops. And then we cut to Kurt, like, I don't know, it looks like 3 miles outside of town, walking a train crossing. And I was like, that's not what I had in mind when you said walk to the main road.
They're just like, let's get this guy nice and tired out like he's a baby.
They make him throw it's Mustache shows up, makes him throw the money in the car, and then duct tapes his hands behind his back. As they're driving, he's like taunting him.
This is why I thought it was the car, because MC Gainey says something here about like, you asshole driving an $18,000 car, and like that's
like a rich asshole car, like with a fancy car.
Yeah, Kurt drops the knife like a fool.
Very Big Trouble in Little China move.
Yeah. So MC Gainey discovers the fake stacks, and as he does, Kurt has freed himself, stabs him in the neck, which rules.
But keep stabbing.
Doesn't he still need information from him at this point, though? Because doesn't he?
He does. He does. I wish I get. I later learn, but at first I'm like, no, because as soon as you pull that out, you bleeding, and now his adrenaline's pumping. He's bleeding faster. You keep making holes in the juice box.
I read a book recently where the hero of the book like knew he was going to die doing his final little thing, and he got shot. And the bad guy, he like rescues the people he's trying to rescue, and then the bad guy shows up, and they're like fleeing, and it's just him, and he's the bad guy. He's going to try to get them, but you know he doesn't know what's going to happen. And the bad guy, it was one of the gnarliest things I've ever seen in a book. The bad guy puts his foot on the guy's chest. He's like slumped against the wall, and he starts doing like chest compressions with his foot to make him bleed out faster. It was one of the gnarliest things I've ever read. I was like, holy shit, I can't imagine.
Wow.
Yeah. So he tapes MC Gainey to the car, which I fucking love. He wraps it around his neck a bunch of times to the headrest.
So that he can keep slamming on the brakes, choking him, which was clever, because I was like, shoot him in the kneecaps.
Yeah.
We don't do that enough in movies. Shoot him in the kneecaps.
You plunge this letter opener in the meat of his thigh, but I literally wrote fuck yes when he starts like jamming on the brakes and choking him, and then like speeding up, jamming on the brakes, speeding up, jamming on the brakes. Yeah. It just rules. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, Rex Lynn shows up as the cop, and I'm like, don't trust this cop. The cop. What are you doing? Yeah. But then the cop shoots MC Gainey, and I was like, oh, I was wrong? Like, I can't believe he's not a crooked cop.
Well, because first MC Gainey shoots the cop, and then we think the cop is dead, and then the cop shoots MC Gainey and kills him.
Yes. And Kurt calls in, like, Officer Down, and then takes Gainey's truck and gets the hell out of there and goes to the pickup point.
Well, and now it's crawling with state police, and
yes,
Kurt Russell's being very squirrely, and I was like, they don't know who you are. Like, nobody called in anything about you.
Yes.
No name, no description. There's nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And these are state police, not local police, so it's not they're
presumably less likely to be in on this, but you never know.
Yeah.
So he overhears Walsh on the payphone, and then he follows him, and we get the best, I think, stunt sequence of the movie.
It's really good.
Where he's kind of snuck onto the truck and then has to like climb and make his way.
He's in like a spare tire holder.
Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like.
But then
I thought it could also be potentially like some of these trucks you see have extra gas tanks fitted on them to drive.
Oh, maybe it's like something can slide in there with plenty of room.
Yeah.
But he starts like climbing under it, and I was like, well, you were pretty secure where you were, buddy.
Yeah.
Where are you going? Now you lost your gun as you were climbing around here.
Yeah, that drove me insane when the gun falls away. But he eventually like makes his way up
behind the cab.
I guess he wanted to be more hidden, I suppose, and couldn't get there in time. And like, I don't know why. Also, I think if you were riding where he was riding, you're just getting sprayed with gravel and dirt. It's probably pretty unpleasant to be underneath the car.
You're also probably hearing damage.
Yeah. So he's hiding like up under the little curvy part of the top of an 18-wheeler. And we see JT Walsh's absolutely miserable home life. It's just a bad marriage.
Yeah. She feels like it feels like this is weird. Like Stockard Channing in particularly in Tu Wong Fu. Very like beleaguered.
Okay. Yeah, it's like she comes out. She's like, what the hell are you doing home? I didn't think you were going to be home today. And it's 6 a.m. And he's like, well, I'm home now. Go make breakfast. All the guys are coming over. And she's like, what? What are you talking about?
Yeah. And his son is there. Kurt's like, at first we think his wife is dead. It's a good fake out.
Yeah, yeah.
And then she's alive.
First Kurt has like found all the people's stuff. There's like a camera.
Yeah.
And,
it's like, I think this was in, maybe Wrong Turn, I think, has this kind of moment where there's like all the old cars and stuff.
It might be Jeepers Creepers.
No, because he doesn't take all the cars in Jeepers Creepers, I don't think.
Oh, wait. I was thinking of Joyride, not Wrong Turn. Wrong Turn is the rednecks, right?
Yeah,
the inbred cannibals. Like Hills Have Eyes. Okay. Yeah. I was thinking of Joyride. It's completely insane that they save all these driver's licenses. Like the other stuff, you could plausibly be like, oh, I bought a bunch of suitcases at a estate sale or something.
Yeah. Also, why haven't you pawned this shit by now?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Especially the camera and things like that. But it's like, dude, burn those driver's licenses. What are you doing?
And license plates. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, the wife looks like she's dead inside this like secret body compartment of his truck. It's a good fake out.
It is. They lock her in like the root cellar in the barn, in a freezer in the root cellar. They
specifically lock her in a freezer in the root cellar. Yeah.
And then Kurt can't open that after they like immediately leave to go get breakfast. And then Kurt can't get it open, so he just sneaks into the house And at first I was like, oh, he
does find a gun in the glove box, which is good. Yeah.
He clearly sees his son, Red Son's room first, and I was like, grab that kid and use him as a hostage. Sorry.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I was like, grab the back of this kid's t-shirt up under his neck so he's choking, and put a gun to his temple and march his ass into the kitchen. Like, what are you?
Put his little neck in the crook of your elbow, hold him tight, ba-boom.
Yeah. Yeah. He was playing the original Wolfenstein, which I was delighted
I thought it was
by.
Doom.
Was it Doom? Okay. It was either Doom or Wolfenstein. It was one of the two movies our uncle gave me on games, not movies, that our uncle gave me on floppy disks when we first got a computer.
Oh.
That I remember playing very much of.
More than Chex Quest? Or Chex Blaster?
It was way before Chex Quest. Because Chex Quest was a CD-ROM game. The entirety of Doom and Wolfenstein fit on, I don't know, 2 or 3 floppies.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So he pulls a gun in the kitchen and then
spills everything.
Yes. And then the kid walks in with a fucking rifle. It's like, well, if you had grabbed the kid, this wouldn't be a fucking problem.
Well, in my head, I was like, just shoot the kid. Sorry.
I would have absolutely. Sorry. Yeah, I'm popping the kid. I'm sorry.
Sorry, not sorry. Like,
yeah. Actually, I think my first move is to pop the kid, and then I'm popping JT Walsh.
Yeah. Or again, like everyone's go-to in movies and shit is to shoot in head, shoot in the knee, shoot someone in the kneecap.
Yeah. Yeah.
They can't chase you.
Yeah, that's true. The foot also works.
In a lot of pain.
The spider treatment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the thing is, though, having only fired a gun the one time, if you've never fired a gun before, you want to aim at the center of the person.
I'm sure.
It's very easy to miss.
But you're in a kitchen. You're real. He's all upon.
Kurt could not miss this child if he didn't want to. But I literally wrote in my notes, I am blowing this kid away with 0 questions. None.
Or I'm breaking his fucking nose with my gun. I'm either shooting him or breaking his fucking nose.
Yeah, at the point where you're like reconnected with your wife and getting her out of there, and she's like, "What'd you go through to save me?" I was like, "Well, I killed a kid and his parents and 4 other guys." Mm-hmm. I think my wife is probably like, "Well, thanks,
thank you."
Let's
call your therapist on Monday.
Yeah, exactly. I'll deal with it later, and I will probably never sleep again. But I'm setting this house on fire with 5 corpses in it.
100%.
Because I'm not calling the cops.
No.
There's no way I'm getting police involved. This story's too insane. No one will believe me.
Truly.
Also, Camo Hat starts like getting up. He's like the big 4th guy.
He's the daddy bear.
Yeah. As soon as this guy starts to get up from the table, boom, boom, done. Like, we're not playing games.
Kurt hits the kid's gun, the rifle, and that's what shoots Daddy Bear. And then I think Kurt hits the kid and takes the gun from him.
Yeah, he does.
The kid disappears. He's like, go to your mom, and then immediately the kid disappears.
Yeah, he's not, because like the mom is very integral to this next section, but the kid really isn't.
Yeah, the kid's not even in the scene.
No, yeah.
He makes the wife open up the cellar and then go down and open up the freezer, and the wife the whole time is like, honey, what room is this? What am I looking at here?
She seems completely shocked, and then it's like, what, were you unable to open a latch? Like, this is a room in your garage. You've never been in here?
Well, I mean, it was hidden. It was like in the floor. I don't know. But like, you didn't think that why do we have so many license plates? Like,
yeah. Also, she's like very much struggling to open this latch. And at that point, I'm like, lady, open the fucking latch or I'm going to shoot you too. Like at this point, I've got a body count going.
Yeah, I'm like, the queer rage is built and snapped inside me. And
lady, open the fucking latch.
Again, I'm shooting your husband in the kneecap.
Else will.
Boom. You got a second kneecap. Open it.
Yeah.
And then the wife, Amy, comes out.
And to be clear, I say this with 0 like Mr. Tough Guy. I'm a big fucking wimp man. But at the point where someone has kidnapped a member of my family,
at this point, like,
I'm gonna fucking shoot
I'm broken.
him.
I have shattered. Yeah. I have broken. I've rebuilt in a very aggressive way.
Yeah.
This is my John McClane moment where like, you fucked up.
So he locks them in the pit.
He forces them all into the basement, and JT tries to get like one last like thing in, and Kurt kicks him in the fucking face. It's so good.
The only thing that they don't do here that I wish they did is I would make them give me the light bulb.
Oh, yeah.
I would say unscrew that light bulb and then stomp on it.
Mm-hmm. No, eat
Like,
it. No,
you're gonna be
eat
in
it.
you're gonna be in the dark. Throw
Chew on that light
out of
bulb,
here.
you son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Well, he also, up until now, he's been pretty like, I'm not going to hurt your wife. I'm not going to hurt your wife. And now he's like, whatever, you're all locked in the cellar. Boom.
Yeah.
I am confused how they got out because it looks like Kurt takes the keys.
Yes, I think they probably just broke this hatch. Like, it doesn't seem like very sturdy because Kurt even throws something on top of it because he's afraid that they're going to be able to break through the door. It's just like a wooden, like it's like a barn door in that it's like multiple pieces of wood. It's not like a piece of plywood or something.
Yeah, it's like a Bilko or tornado door. That's probably what it was for.
Right, it's probably a tornado shelter, but it's built out of like individual boards, so it's certainly is like you could pry them apart if you got lucky.
Yeah, so they run away. We see Billy in the fucking house getting a gun.
Yeah. Kurt's looking for a car, and I love that like daybreak is happening here. It really like, first of all, it looks cool as hell, and second of all, like the sense of exhaustion kind of comes through because of how long this day has been, how long they've been at it. And it also just this kind of like chase sequence, car sequence looks awesome at daybreak.
JT drives his big rig through the trailer they're in.
Yes.
Which seems to be something they've stolen from one of their victims, his wife didn't question where it came from, and it's just sitting on the property.
Yeah. Also, it seems like maybe Billy lives here. It's hard to tell. Also, did you notice that Kirk breaks the window and then he tries to open the door from the front?
Yeah, I saw it. I was like, buddy, why'd you break it?
Like, why is this in the movie? Yeah.
So they get away, and then
they absolutely annihilate this trailer with a semi-truck,
it's
which
awesome.
Looks cool as shit. Yeah.
They get away. They're being chased by Billy and Daddy Bear and JT.
They're like boxing them in, and Billy's got a shotgun.
Well, he's doing the like slam into you, and I was like, oh, he's gonna do because he's in the middle. It's like he's gonna do the break, and then they're gonna keep going and shoot each other, which almost happens, but doesn't quite.
Yes. Also, this is the part where I was like, okay, just the wife hasn't done anything. Can't she shoot
her a gun?
These guys? Yeah. Can't she just like she's shooting 6 feet? Can't
Kurt
she
has a hunting? She's supposed to have a hunting rifle and a handgun at this point. Where did the rifle go?
Right. Well, like, yeah, just like give her, like, let her shoot one of the guys.
Yeah,
like, she doesn't have to be the hero. Just let her do a thing.
So he like does some clever driving, and Billy's car flips over and explodes, which is great.
Yeah, it rules. Yes.
I can't figure out why JT's truck separates. Like,
he loses control. It's like a classic jackknife where he like loses a little bit of control, overcorrects, and then when he overcorrects, like the momentum of the back of the truck just keeps coming.
Okay.
So it's like the front of the car goes left, but the back,
because for a second I thought Kurt fucked with his truck the way they fucked with his car.
Oh no, that would have been cool.
But then Daddy Bear goes through the back of the truck and crashes.
Yeah, he gets killed. Yeah. I believe his name was Al, by the way. That's what I was writing. I don't know why I knew that, but it's irrelevant.
I think Al's one of the bears, country bears, so I'll take it.
That's also possible. So Walsh is trying to push. They end up in a little crash. They're on a bridge, and Kurt and the wife are in the truck, and JT Walsh is trying to push their car over the bridge with the 18-wheeler.
Yeah.
The wife is like kind of stuck.
Kurt gets out and starts like jumps into the cab of the 18-wheeler and starts punching and beating him up.
Fist fight in a car. Yeah, it's pretty good.
So they go over the edge and it catches.
Yeah.
It looks like JT comes out of the windshield.
It does.
But then he's inside the truck, and I was like, oh, motherfucker.
I wondered if it was like a dummy.
Oh, maybe.
Like, for the safety of the stunt, it was a dummy in the driver's seat, and it actually did fall out, and they couldn't like reshoot it or something.
Yeah.
There is a good bit of this sequence where like this part of the movie drags just a little for me.
Ever so
like
slightly.
I feel like we hit the natural ending, and then this is like the final action sequence. But the part where the two of them are like climbing all over this truck and it's dangling over the side, all looks cool.
It does, but Kurt does the like. Everyone in action movies is like, it's gonna be a clean fight. No. Stick your fingers in his fucking eye sockets, grab his balls, and squish them like a bag of grapes. Like,
box an ear. Like, I'm not doing anything but trying to kill you.
There's no rules.
Life.
It's an Outback Steakhouse. No rules.
Yeah.
Just
Take
right.
the antenna off and start whipping him with it.
Stab him with it. Choke him with Just that's if I'm ever in a situation like this, I'm going for the fucking eyes.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
It's
Yeah,
kill or
absolutely.
be killed.
Yeah, gouge eyes, kicking the balls. It's all on the table. So Walsh has it's a fantastic stunt fall.
It's
off the
a
truck.
very satisfying fall.
It's very, very good. He doesn't splat, and I was like, uh-oh.
Well, then, Kurt flips because he's got a chain, and he's hitting Kurt with it, and Kurt grabs the chain, and they
that's right.
lock
That's right.
eyes. There's good like Kill Bill eye shots.
Yeah,
and then he
yeah,
yanks him over the edge, which is great. Kurt climbs up, pulls his lady out, and then I'm like, oh, it's over. I said happy ending, but also there was a bag filled with all of their money somewhere. So you might want to figure out where that went, because that was all of your money in cash.
Yeah, including your 401k that you liquidated.
Yeah. But then they look over the edge, and JT's still moving, and I was like, bullshit. This was like a 200-foot drop onto a rock.
Yeah, it is a little silly, although he is doing the wrestler-esque, like, just a little bit of a stir. Like, he hasn't quite heard it from the crowd and hyped up yet.
Yeah, and then Amy wiggles the stick shift on the truck, and the cab goes over the edge and crushes him. I wish it exploded, but I'll take it.
Yeah, I did also want an explosion here. I was sad that we didn't get that. I do like that the wife gets to do something finally.
Yeah, she gets one thing to do. Cool.
Is a little bit nice. I forgot to say at the top that this director also directed Terminator 3.
Oh, really? That's the one with the hot lady, right?
Yes, yeah, and Arnold, like, there's some, like, gay panicky stuff.
That movie still drives me nuts that she woke up naked in a department store and then walked out naked. And I was like, she was in a fucking store.
Yeah, well, it is a Terminator movie.
Yeah, it's man ass. That's what the Terminator stands for.
Is that what Terminator stands for, man ass?
Yes.
I didn't know that. But he has no other similar action movies. Like, I assume
really
he got Terminator 3 because of this, but there's he's got like a Statham movie from 2000, or no, Bruce Willis movie from 2009 that it looks awful, and he did one like 8 years ago with Avatar's Sam Worthington that looks to be like a similar style but not as good. And I was just bummed because I had hoped this guy would be like a rich vein of these that I could tap into.
No, I don't think so.
I believe his name Jonathan Mostow, I think, is the guy's name. Let me double check that. Yeah, that's right. And then the other thing that I like about this is like the very ending shot, they're hugging, we slowly pull back and it becomes like a helicopter shot of the two of them just like, oh, we made it. That's it. There's no, like, the police don't, like, there's no, like, police interview. There's no,
apparently,
like, this guy's been doing this for 10 years.
In a draft or a version of the script, it ended with them back at the farmhouse talking to the police. And the last line of the movie was Amy going, next time we're flying. And I was like, thank Christ.
Nope. Yeah. If she crushed him with a car and then turned to him and said, next time we're flying, I would be totally
I'll
fine
give you a
with
pass
that.
for that one. Yeah.
Yeah. But it, like, don't add a scene to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. I love this movie.
It's very good. I wish it was talked about more. I don't know why it's not.
Yeah.
Because JT Walsh is a great villain.
Yes. He fully gets the, like, I'm here to twirl my mustache and be like an over the top bad guy.
He's kind of James Spader energy.
Yeah.
Even a little bit in looks too, I'll say.
Yeah, no, I agree. He's not as handsome as Spader, but I agree. But yeah, it's like, it's such a simple formula. It's like husband and wife gets kidnapped, husband will do anything to get her back. You could do variations on this theme. Obviously, it could be a child, although that makes it like a little bit different.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's just, there's like 10 characters in this movie. They all get a little bit to do, except the wife. Well, whatever. Yeah. If you rewrote this movie, I'd give her a little more to do, of course.
Give her a bit more.
This movie. Yeah. It's like...
Put Elizabeth Shue in there. Give her something to do.
Well, I'm just like, if the only thing you changed about this movie was like, the wife shoots Billy and that causes his crash and he dies. And then the wife, when Kurt and the guy are fighting, like, blares on the horn at a moment where JT Walsh is like about to hit Kurt and it like takes
startles him.
he startles him enough that Kurt can punch him or something. Like that's enough. Like,
Yeah.
I just give her like 3 things. She has 0 right now, So I like that.
Let her be the your companion in Fallout or BioShock.
Yeah.
She's just there to throw ammo at you and help you out.
Well, my companions in Fallout do most of the work because I get the big giant creature guy to just fight all the fights.
Oh, you do? I get Codsworth. I get the robot. I like him a lot.
The giant can carry like 5 times as much as you can.
Oh.
And so it's like a little bit, as a hoarder in all digital games.
Me too.
It's really nice. Yeah. It's like, I'll need 9 teacups. Don't worry about it. Your companion, that guy can carry a lot of stuff.
I might have to switch out for the robot.
Yeah. He can carry basically infinite, and he's very strong and good with one. There's one particular weapon he's good at. So you give him that, and then he can carry all your shit.
Okay.
Anyway, but yeah, this movie just fucking rules. It's like it is a perfect example of the type of movie that it is, right? Like it's like it
would have been a good theme park something.
Yeah, I could see that, like a stunt show or something.
Yeah, or like a earthquake style thing where you're like,
yeah, it's an A+B movie.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I feel about this. It's like a perfect example of the form. I was delighted to have discovered it. Delighted to talk about it here. I know it's not an 80s movie, but it does feel like the spirit of the podcast a little bit.
It does.
Like, at least the things we like. So we will mostly be focusing on 80s movies in case anybody's really worried on it, but just wanted to give ourselves some flexibility for some fun stuff that's outside those bounds. And shit, it's been 10 years or coming up on 10 years.
Yeah.
So
let us have fun. I like to enjoy the things sometimes.
It'll be 10 years in August.
We've plumbed a lot from the 80s.
Yeah. This is approaching 300 episodes. So, we'll continue to mostly be in the 80s, but going forward, we'll have a little more space. So thank you so very much for listening to this. Check this movie out. I believe it's on Paramount. It was just on Prime, but I think it ended in February. But it's usually somewhere streaming. It bounces around a lot. We will be back in 2 weeks. It'll be slightly less than 2 weeks because of our scheduling snafu here, but with Captain Ron, another delightfully oddball Kurt Russell movie that I don't like as much as this one, if I'm being honest.
I mean, they can't all be winners.
No, yeah. I mean, it's not awful, but we'll talk about it. We'll have a whole episode to discuss it. Check us out on Facebook or at Dissect the 80s on Twitter. Let us know your favorite road trip snacks. We'd love to hear those from you. Thank you for joining us for Russell Madness Part 2, which I forgot to say at the top of the show. Yes, Russell-Mania. Russell Madness is the dog wrestling movie. Oops. Russel-Mania 2, Oops, No Carpenters. So we'll be finishing that up in a couple of weeks. Thank you so much for listening. I have been Trip Lano.
I will always be Andrew Lano.
Until next time.
Don't you forget about me.
Dissecting the 80s is a Chum Some of This production.